Hello everyone, welcome back to Resident Evil 7. We are still without hand on left side. I think we can see that in our shadow if I line it up right. That's visible to me at least, given my current settings. But okay, we are handless. We need to get into the attic per the phone call from the mysterious Zoe, and up we go. Let's see what we can find up here. We got some bullets. We got a healing spray. And we got a gun.
Okay, fine.
The gun is a big part of why or gunplay, I should say, in part is why I'm re-recording some of this. Because I thought to myself, like, the third time I recorded these, I got good visuals. I just had, like, screwed up audio, and I was thinking to myself, like, oh, maybe there's something I can do with that. Or I liked my commentary, and I was like, okay, maybe I can just have my... Maybe I can just, like, record the visuals and not do commentary on top again, and maybe that'll be sufficient. And overlay my old commentary, because that worked. But any of the commentary that I would do during combat wouldn't necessarily align with, like, re-recorded visuals. Yeah, each attempt that I had at this had different issues. One of them that I mentioned last is that the game was recording super dark for me, like imperceptibly dark. Even though, like, if it looks normal on my screen, then it records as imperceptibly dark. And I've never had this issue before with another game. And in order to have it look good on screen, I need to, like... Or in order for the recording to look good, I need to make it, like, way too bright. As a brief horror aside, I would mention that the mannequins are going to show up again a handful of times in this game, and that's like a very classic horror thing. Not only is it a little fun fake out that you think that it's a person, but no, it's a mannequin, but also there's this whole thing with mannequins being especially creepy because they're in the uncanny valley, which is kind of a spurious concept, actually. Like, I think that uncanny valley is really fascinating, but I also think that it's, like, almost too readily accepted. Like, I don't know if it's actually something that can be quantified in the way that the uncanny valley claims to. For those who aren't familiar with it, it's the idea that things that are similar to human but not exactly human are, like, extra scary to us. So, like, mannequins being sort of, like, perceptibly not human but really close to human makes them very scary. So, like, the peculiarity of some of their proportions. Ow. The peculiarity of some of their proportions, combined with their skin being plasticky. Oh. Oops. Well, unfortunate, but you did try to kill me with chainsaw. Now, in all the times that I've done this sequence, I can't find a reliable way to trigger the next bit. Oh, yeah. There we go. And that's definitely not where Mia was. Yeah, so that in the now 5 times that I've done this, I swear triggers in a different place every time. I don't know what the actual script is for it. We see ourselves being dragged through the rain, carried by this mysterious man who is implied, of course, to be the daddy that she was like apologizing to. And now we get one of, well, soon, shortly, I should say, we will get one of the...
Fine. Don't you die on us now. You have work to do.
We are about to get one of the big Texas Chainsaw Massacre homages, like maybe the biggest Texas Chainsaw Massacre homage in the entire whole game. Come on.
Where am I? What the hell?
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's time for supper.
Who are all you people? Where's Mia?
Eat it. It's good.
Dumb son bitch wasn't no good if it hit him.
Yes.
Man, not again. Get out to work, Marguerite. Hit boy's got to eat. He got to have his supper. Come here, boy.
Shit, he's not eating it, Jack. He's not eating
Get
it.
the hell up,
I
Marguerite.
made that for him.
Get the hell out of here.
You're a son of a bitch. Oh, I can't believe it. You son of a bitch. He's not eating it. He's not eating it.
This is supposed to be a very special feast. Come on, boy. God damn it! I'll bet it's that cop again. Goddamn pigs.
I know, right?
Coming back for you.
Okay. So for anyone who hasn't seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of its most iconic scenes in my mind is sort of towards the climax of the film when it's down to the final girl. Yeah, she gets strapped to a chair and is forced to have dinner with the family, the Sawyers, which in that case consists of a comatose grandpa, sort of similar to this. Then there's like the angry father figure, the sort of itchy kind of, I don't know, screechy son. And then in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the third element, or I guess the fourth element, is Leatherface rather than Marguerite. Like, Marguerite doesn't really align. Marguerite's the wife. She doesn't really align with anybody there, but I do think that there's something in Jack who maybe embodies both the father in Texas Chainsaw Massacre and also a little bit of Leatherface. But yeah, the idea that there's this like sort of disgusting feast that we can presume is probably human in origin is definitely like one of the most like horrific scenes in that movie. It's like really, really tough to watch, actually. I mean, some of it is also like there's something about the cinematography where like that scene is just like 10 minutes of the girl just like screaming as loud as possible, which is not super pleasant to watch. It's a tough one. Sort of not, it's not exactly torture porn, but it's kind of preempting torture porn. Let's see. 3 missing during Urbex's trip. State authorities are asking for help in locating 3 men who went missing during their travels to Dulvey Parish from New Orleans on the 9th of this month. The missing men have been identified as Peter Walken, Andre Stickland, and Clancy Javis. The three produce videos for the internet and travel to Dulvey to shoot footage for their latest production. The videos consist mostly of the group exploring abandoned buildings and haunted houses. And then The Unveiled Abyss by Clive R. O'Brien. Now that one I know for a fact is a reference to Resident Evil Outbreak. Clive R. O'Brien is a character in those games. I haven't actually played them, but like that's the one that I'm more familiar with as explicitly being one of the references. Let's see. Got a bunch of notes we can't read, including a to-do list of buy X, Y, and Z. A bunch of different stuff. The birthday candles. Blank is not dead. Dead by dawn, dead by dawn, dead by dawn. Where's my mower? Has anybody seen my... Nico's Hardware. Saw, $24.99. Rope, 4 lengths. Pet collar, 20. $586.21 total. You'd think they'd mostly... Oh, it's me. I'm pushing the chair around. You'd think that most of what they're doing would probably be paid for in cash. Like if they steal cash off the people they kill. More to-do list notes. Got a calendar indicating this month. That we're in July, right? I think we're in July. Which makes sense. That's a month that ends in 31. Into the kitchen we go. Once again, gross fridge full of gross stuff. Got guts. And here's kind of an interesting note. April 25th, male 30s, lean gumbo. June 30th, male 20s, portly barbecue. March 13th, female 50s, meaty saute. Hammering home, if you haven't figured it out yet, that they are in fact eating people, and they're preparing them into sort of traditional dishes of Louisiana or the South. Herb. So I don't know if we are going to be able to get it, but for the sake of it, one of the more iconic spooks of the game is that this wall, I think in the other direction, Jack can burst through it. I can't remember if in the rest of my playthrough that happens or not. But it's a big shocking moment. You have to sort of run around him and like avoid him while you're in the house. And having him burst through the wall is highly unexpected. And it's sort of a nod also to where his name comes from. As I understand it, he's named after Jack from The Shining. Or maybe Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I can't remember if the husband's name is Jack in The Shining, or if it's just the actor. So, box we can't break. A sign for the garage. And it's secured with tape that can't be removed by hand. Oh, and of all funny things, my hand is now reattached. So, this is kind of an interesting thing that I'll talk about later. But there is this question of... the voice saying he's got work to do. And there's a voice that says he's got work to do, and there's a this thing about them trying to feed me that feels like it calls to question if you are also infected with whatever is infecting them, or they're prepping you. Because what is infecting them is also allowing them to heal, which is why the father was willing to cut off his son's hand so readily. Okay. We're going to hide for a second. So another thing that I don't know if I can make happen or not, I would like to, if possible, is... there's this one particular animation that you can get if Jack catches you. I think I hear him. It's really hard to tell. If Jack catches you, he can also cut your leg off. Oh.
Just slip out before dinner was done?
Time to run.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, he can cut your leg off, which is an interaction that a lot of people won't experience. Hello. And if he cuts your leg off, you'll actually reattach your own leg and just pour some healing over it. And it'll be healed. Like, your leg will just reattach that quickly. And down we go. Bye-bye. And down we go, under the house, into the crawl space. So, one of the topics that I first addressed last video that I wanted to sort of expound upon a little bit more is kind of the history of the Resident Evil series. I feel like this is probably going to end up being something that I cover with every Resident Evil game I play. So I apologize if this gets a little boring. Oh, first, here's Jack's mower that he complained about not knowing its location. But I want to give a brief history of the Resident Evil series just to give a little bit of context for like how this game came into existence and why the game is what it is, and what this means for the future of the franchise or whatever. But Resident Evil 7, as I mentioned, is sort of a remake of the first game and also sort of a sequel and also sort of a reboot for the franchise. So original Resident Evil comes out in 1996. They really stink. I'm sure they would, Ethan. We have no reason to believe they wouldn't. Oh yeah, because I already beat the game. It has given me an additional gun. Which I'm not going to use because that's cheating for this. And it's introducing us to the idea of crafting. Main house map, thank you. And we might as well. So, Resident Evil 1 comes out in 1996. It's not really the first horror game, but it's a huge, important codifier for the genre as we know it, and it's a hit. Surprisingly successful, and it immediately spawns a franchise. Like, they immediately go for it. Resident Evil 2 comes out 2 years later after slightly difficult production timeline. I knew that was going to happen. Okay. We'll talk about Resident Evil after this phone call.
You did good, Ethan.
Zoe, right? What the fuck are they?
Shut up and listen if you want to stay alive. You gotta get out of that house. There might be a way out through the main hall.
All right.
Oh, and that thing on your wrist is a codex. Don't lose it. It's important.
Okie doke.
Hell of a girl.
Resident Evil 2 comes out 2 years after the first game, is considered almost universally to be an improvement upon the original. Really hugely popular. That's the one that has Leon and Claire and takes place in Raccoon City, like during the zombie outbreak. Got a remake somewhat recently. No, that hasn't happened yet. Do I need to check over here? Is that what I need to do to trigger police officer? Anyway, Resident Evil 3 comes out a year after that. Not necessarily considered better than Resident Evil 2. Got a crossed out photo here. We will learn that is Zoe. She is not beloved in the family right now, in part because she has not given in to whatever it is that is afflicting the rest of them. You don't know him, but you get the feeling he's an asshole. That's the son, Lucas. It's that crazy husband and wife from before. Jack and Marguerite's 25th wedding anniversary. can't do anything about that bobblehead yet. Soon. Resident Evil 3 isn't really considered better than Resident Evil 2. It's considered good, and it has Nemesis in it, who's like maybe the most iconic villain of the series. But that doesn't necessarily make it a better game. There's the cop.
Hey, over here.
A year later,
Hey, you.
yet another main story entry.
Hey, you gotta help me.
Hold on, back up. Now, sir, do you live here? I mean, is this your property?
What? Me? No. No.
All right. Now, we got several calls about some missing persons lately.
You don't understand. I gotta get out of here.
Calm down.
You're not listening to me. There are crazy people in this house trying to fucking kill me.
Well, all right. Let me tell you this. You don't exactly seem like you're playing with a full deck yourself, all right?
Are you kidding me?
Look, like I said, we've had several missing persons calls. And I can't rule out that an outsider like yourself may not be involved.
Right. I'll tell you whatever you want.
All right. Now, that's more like it. Now, meet me in the garage. We'll talk there.
Hey, wait. You gotta give me your gun.
You must have lost your mind.
Look, officer.
Deputy.
Right. Deputy. Now, do you want to see my name in the obituaries? Or do you want to be a hero and save my life? A fucking pocket knife?
Here. Take it. That's all you're gonna get. Now go. Garage. Now.
Year
What am I gonna do with a
2000.
knife?
Yeah. Year 2000, we get handgun ammo. Thank you. We get Code Veronica, which is a mainline entry to the games, but it didn't get a number because there was kind of this idea that the initial trilogy was going to be numbered, and then everything after that wasn't going to be numbered. But due to some struggles that the series would then enter into, that plan kind of fell through a little bit. So Code Veronica is sort of beloved by a lot of fans of the Resident Evil franchise, but it's not generally regarded as one of the better games by people who aren't Resident Evil fans. So it wasn't enormously worse. The issue was that it in many regards was more. It was more Resident Evil, but it wasn't better than any of its preceding games. Like, the changes it made didn't improve anything, and the things that it didn't change were getting stale.
Hey, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Now, first
And the
thing,
things
tell me
that
what you doing out here
kept the
alone.
same also
You good or
didn't
not?
Me? What
weren't
about
improved
you?
That's my
upon.
job. I want you to do your job and tell me. Answer my questions.
You're not gonna believe me if I told you.
Try. Hey, put that door back. Put that door back up. Put that door.
Very sharp shovel.
I'm gonna kill everyone. You think you can hurt me?
I can. Ow. Why would you do that? Oh, dang it. I'm really screwing up. Oof. I actually have pretty good accuracy in this game for the most part. I'm not doing great in this fight. I didn't do great in the Mia fight either. But in my main playthrough, I was doing fine. Okay, is it time to drive?
Where the hell you think you're going to, son?
Yes. Ow. Time to drive.
That looks fun.
So, Code Veronica kind of like this is a story that the franchise would kind of get used to from here forward for a little while. That, like, the games weren't necessarily super bad, but they were, like, they weren't getting better. Uh-oh. So, already, as of, like, 2002, the original Resident Evil got remade, so only 6 years later, considered to be, like, a definitive vision of the game.
Let's finish this, you and I.
I'd rather not, Jack.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take you for a ride. No.
And ducked. He did not so much. I probably could have done the entire fight with just the knife. I was doing pretty well. I might have actually been able to do better had I done that. The string that Code Veronica sort of started was kind of the story with the franchise for a while. Time to run. No explodey.
Oh boy, now look what you've done, motherfucker.
So the remake of Resident Evil 1, I think, kind of drew everybody's attention back to the fact that a lot of the games that came after either didn't fulfill upon the promises or were, I said, more of the same but not as good, other than maybe Resident Evil 2, which a lot of people consider to be, at that time, like the peak of the franchise. Resident Evil 0 would come out, like, I think 2003, as memory serves. That's a prequel. And again, it's liked by the fans of the franchise, but, like, if you look at reviews from that period of time, almost all of the reviews say the same thing, which is just that, like, the Resident Evil formula has gotten stale.
Do I have your attention, boy? You're about to see some wonderful. Oh, fuck!
Perhaps proving his level of regeneration, hurting himself so that we can see later that he's gonna be fine. That's not a maybe, that is what it is. It shows just how kind of bonkers he is. So you also get a bunch of Resident Evil spin-offs in this time. There's games like the Dead Aim series, which I think are the light gun games. There's the Outbreak games. There's a handful of these other moments for the franchise, but again, there's kind of this, like, ongoing dialogue, I feel like, critically and even in a lot of game, like, a lot of spaces with people talking about games, that the Resident Evil franchise had gotten really, really stale. And its gameplay had not really advanced since, like, the first game. Which is not great. Oh, Grandma's gone. You know, that's not really a good thing. That's not something that the franchise should be happy about, particularly because there were such huge gameplay innovations and changes between generations. Like, you have to remember, this was like the PS1 to PS2 generational shift saw such significant changes in how gameplay was being designed. When you think about, like, GoldenEye, like, think about GoldenEye versus Halo. Like, that's the kind of gameplay leap we were seeing. And even with some other horror games at the time, when you look at, you know, the ambitions of, like, a Silent Hill 2 or Fatal Frame 2 or Siren. There were quite a few ambitious games willing to like do interesting things, and Resident Evil wasn't really keeping up. So 2005 they released Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is a huge leap forward for the franchise. It changes the perspective to be over the shoulder, and it also changes the perspective to be over the shoulder, shifts things a little bit more to action, shifts things away from the Raccoon City incident, even shifts things away from zombies. And all of this is supposed to be... that game was also kind of like a loose reboot for the series, like a soft reboot to kind of like reassure people of the franchise's legitimacy. For the sake of it, this is a projector. You can put any item in it. I think... Yeah, so this is a puzzle where we have to insert an object that will look like an eagle, which is not the knife, but it's very funny because you can just put anything in the game there. Over 20 missing in 2 years. Captain Howell from the state police told reporters that they have started a search for Helen Midkiff, a college student from North Carolina who's traveling in Louisiana. Miss Midkiff hasn't been heard of since the night of the 21st. Reports of missing persons in South Louisiana have increased dramatically in the past 2 years. The majority of those missing are tourists and vagrants. At least 20 people are thought to have gone missing so far. Police suspect foul play and believe there may be a connection between the incidents. Plans are in place to step up local interrogations and increase personnel to further the investigations. Alyssa Ashcroft, January 19th, 2016. Okay, so Alyssa Ashcroft is the one from Outbreak, not the other newspaper that I mentioned. Mentioning her, the fact that her name is mentioned here is kind of like a signal that something else is going on. So the key thing we're here to do, for the sake of saying it, is we gotta get 3 dog heads to open that door.
Did my daddy give you a hard time?
That's your father?
He used to be.
I'm sorry, but he's dead now.
You just might be able to pull this off.
What? Pull what off?
There's something I need you to do, but I can't explain it right now. You may need some sort of keys to do it, but find a way out of the house.
Okay.
I'll be in touch.
So, back down the hall. We are going to run. Resident Evil 4 is maybe my favorite game of all time. I think it's an incredibly good game. And it really did give people a lot of faith back in the franchise because it's so good. But it also kind of led to some issues for the series, and in certain senses. Not that it's really any of its own fault, and I don't really like the line of reasoning that some people sometimes try to like blame it for the issues of games that follow it, which I think is dumb. I think it's kind of dumb to like blame a good game for other games attempting to emulate the good game and fail. Otherwise, like, why should we make good games at all? Because, maybe bad games might emulate them. But Resident Evil 4 gets critical acclaim across the board from everybody, basically. Resident Evil 5 comes out, and it's, in many regards, maybe trying a little bit too hard to be... Maybe trying a little bit too hard. That needs the scorpion key. It's trying a little bit too hard to be Resident Evil 4. Like, it replicates a few specific sequences, like, with such precision that it actually is almost a little... Like, it almost feels sort of like to lack context, or like lack originality. Shoot me, the sign says, talking about the bobblehead that I've been breaking with the knife. I'm going to run back and put some of this stuff away also. So, Resident Evil 5 comes out. It's generally thought of as a pretty good game, but just not as good as 4. So we're already kind of like running into a similar situation as what you got from 3 forward, where it's like, here's more, but not better. We'll put you away. Now we'll actually get out the chem fluid. So we can now make bullets for gun. I forget, was there a... Yeah, lock. Lock to lockpick. Oh, first aid. Lovely. So Resident Evil 5 comes out. It's more, but not better. Resident Evil 6 comes out. It's way different and almost universally regarded as like a huge problem for the franchise, I guess. Like, it's not a very good game. It's really long, it's really bloated. It's like a Michael Bay action movie, and how much explosive silliness is going on. It is an issue, and the franchise kind of struggles for a lot of the 2010s with wanting to maybe be an action series, which is partly maybe related to the success of the live-action Paul W.S. Anderson films, which are also very, very, very action-oriented. Oh, so is there something in... No. Some of those guys have items in them. The little vase that I ran past. Got a picture of a little girl. Evelyn, May 2nd, 2014. Got a snake door. Photo of a girl with a cat. You get these games like Umbrella Corps and Operation Raccoon City that are really trying to, like, Call of Duty-ify the series. Hello, Grandma. And it's generally not regarded as a good thing. Maybe it's Daddy's hobby, Ethan says while observing a football helmet. It's a nice painting. We got another snake door. We are outside, and I think we can see, yeah, Marguerite walking around down there with her lantern. That'll become relevant relatively soon. More handgun ammo, thank you. Another lock I need to pick, if we can find a lock pick. This is a drop down back to the front hall. Those broken stairs we've seen before. Ooh, another chem fluid, thank you. Not gonna go in the bathroom because that actually triggers certain story progress. Herb, thank you. We have this kind of rec room, rumpus room, if you will. Marguerite, move that piece of shit hippie we caught from the hall to the processing area. Cow. Looks like the family stuffed it themselves. Antique coin. Bobble. My inventory's gotta be... Oh, actually not too bad. Okay. Got another videotape. We'll do the videotape, but there's actually one little bit of my commentary podcasting thing that I'm going to do first. As soon as we grab all the items here. Oh, dog's head. That's actually perfect, because we can now run downstairs, and I'll put the dog's head in. And that will let me talk about the thing I want to talk about. So this game came out in 2017. There had been a gap since a lot of the other games. You know, there were a handful of other things happening in the franchise other than the mainline games that I mentioned. I said there were the sort of bad spin-offs, but there were also the, like, more light gun games, Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles. There were these sort of mainline spin-offs called the Revelations games, which again are maybe a thing that is liked by Resident Evil fans, but not necessarily considered super good if you're not a Resident Evil fan. And that's kind of like the story of the franchise. So this game, when it came out in 2017, was kind of meant to reassure people that the franchise could be good. So we're getting a new setting. It's kind of back to basics. We're back in a mansion. It's back to being a Metroidvania. We have a variety of these different key types: the scorpion key, the snake key, and the crow key. We have multiple different buildings, actually. So like even after we get out of this one, there are other areas on the estate that we have to explore. There's traps, there's puzzles, there's a smaller number of enemies, there's a heavier emphasis on inventory management. These are back to a lot of the basics that really are kind of like what made Resident Evil 1 like genre defining. And with that in mind, this is not literally a remake of the first game, but it does have a lot of similarities, because like even in terms of some little things, you get a lot of overlaps, just echoing. The two games maybe rhyme. They're certainly not the same, but they hit a lot of the same beats. But it is also meant to be a soft reboot for the franchise, and let people say like, hey, these games can be good again. And it was following this that we got the Resident Evil 2 remake, the Resident Evil 3 remake, both of which were considered very good, especially the Resident Evil 2 remake. And now we have Village coming out in just a couple months. So before we go upstairs and do the VHS tape, the VHS tape will basically be the last thing we do this session. I just wanted to come back to the main hall to talk about a point that in my original recordings of this playthrough I always mentioned when we were in the hall. So a big thing that I think is really interesting in this game and about the gothic horror genre in general is gothic horror is very resplendent and very decadent, and this decadence isn't just in terms of like literal wealth of the setting, but Judith Halberstrom in Skin Shows talks about this idea that like the gothic fiction is like an engine for interpretations. Like gothic fiction loves just constantly introducing new things to be interpreted, constantly introducing new symbolic systems and new possible reads, and some of these reads are contradictory, and everything, or maybe not everything, but a lot of things can be read two ways. So like Dracula as a character is both incredibly monstrous and bestial, but he's also this like refined count and gentleman. He is also repulsive, but also like highly sexual. There's something meant to be like hyper heterosexual about him as well, because of the way that he like seduces women in the story. But there is also this like queer sort of like, I don't know, subtext going on. Like lesbian vampires are like a classic thing to the genre, and this like even male characters sort of like describing feelings in that story can be very, very contradictory. You get something similar with Frankenstein. You get something similar with Jekyll and Hyde. This contradictory back and forth between simultaneous reads, and this like sort of like resplendent, excessive number of reads you can take is a big part of the genre, and I encourage you to sort of like think about that and pay attention to that as we go through this game. And I think that this main hall is like a great example of that, where it's like you can see that these people aren't kind of like stereotypical like poor white trash, as Andre said. Like these people weren't hillbillies, like they lived in this like huge mansion, but this is like simultaneously contrasted with the fact that everything is so like filthy and gross, and like everything is like beautiful but also like horrifying. Everything is rich and poor. Like they are this like wealthy plantation family kind of, but they are also kind of white trash hicks. The simultaneity also extends even to some of these like moral reads within them, I think, where like something that is going to come up throughout the story was the fact that like before they were afflicted by whatever it is that is afflicting them, that they might have been good people. But there's also a lot of contradictions to that, and I think one of the contradictions that's like presented also in this hall is that they have this like weird implicit Confederate memorial. We can't take the shotgun now. We have to find a counterweight for it. But this is like, there isn't a literal Confederate flag, but like I think it's meant to be read as such. This kind of like flat-topped, brimmed hat and the style of uniform is very, very, very Civil War. And hypothetically, it could be a Union because we don't have the gray versus blue thing on display. But being in Louisiana, the likelihood that they were Union supporters is extremely unlikely. So like the fact that they have this basically like an altar, like they have a little narthex in their home, kind of to venerate the Confederacy. Kind of complicates this read of this idea that they were good people. And this also will come up later when we get more background on Lucas, the son. Again, like they're supposed to be good people and like driven to this violent madness by some kind of affliction, some kind of like possession that is affecting them in the same way that Mia is being affected. But like we get some background on Lucas that seems to imply that he might have already been violent and he might have already even been like a murderer prior to the fact that he was infected. And it seems likely, given some of the context, and I'll talk about it more when we get to that point, it seems likely, given some of that context, that his parents must have known, or like it seems incredibly likely that they would have known and were maybe covering up for him. Which again sort of like complicates this read that they were good people. Like maybe they weren't, or like they were good insofar as we understand them. October 2nd, reports say a storm's coming. I had a lot of trouble cleaning up after the last one a few years back. I guess it's time to reinforce the windows and shore up the roof. Maybe I'll get Lucas to help. October 9th. The water has finally receded. The house is all right, but the old house was badly damaged. Lucas is making a fuss about a huge ship that washed up in the bayou. If that's true, I better report it to the parish. I'll go check it out tomorrow. So some October, that has to be at least 9 months earlier than now, but maybe older. They were still in good graces with the outside world. But was there anything over here also? No, just darts in a basket. Okie doke. Oh, wait. Is there also... Oh, yeah. That was the hippie note. Okay. Let's do our new VHS. So, I think this, like, multiplicity? I don't know. Multiplicity of reads. Mia, Ethan, please watch this. Mia Winter's old house. Do not copy, it says.
Find this. I know I can't expect anything from you. Not after what happened. After what I did. But I just want you to know that wasn't me. I don't know what happened. There's so much that you need to know.
There you are! You gave us quite a scare, young lady.
Okay. Well, I hope I do well in this section because it's sort of a stealth sequence. Sort of a stealth sequence, and I did really, really well in previous times. Nothing over there. I did really well previous times that I did this. Oh. No going that way.
Over here, Mommy.
Creepy girl who wasn't there a moment ago. Calling us mommy, and now she's gone. Creepy child, back to that thing I was saying. So, as I said, this is kind of like a stealth section, and I actually did it perfect the last time I recorded. And I hope I do it perfect again, because I don't want to have to redo it. Where's Mark?
I am sick and tired of being sick and
I need to hide. I need to hide.
Why are you putting me through this? What have I done to deserve this except open my home and feed you?
Thankfully, the stealth AI is not enormously observant.
This house has seen more than you can imagine. And it knows. Just don't understand. Or is it just don't?
Let's see. I'm looking for what is ostensibly a puzzle piece right now.
No, I'm not. I know you were scared. You think I don't know what you want to do with that boy, Ethan?
More evidence to my question about what's up with Ethan being brought here. Okay. Is she gone? Not quite.
No, don't come over here.
Oh. She got me. I thought she had walked away already. Okay, retry. Sorry, everybody. Okie doke. Oh.
This house has seen more than
Oh, is it already there?
and it knows. You just don't understand. Or is it that you just don't?
Okay, come on. Now we're just waiting. So, I guess to reiterate though, multiplicity of reads is something that I think is going to show up a lot in this game, of this question of like, were they or weren't they good people? Weren't they rich? What exactly is happening? And I think that the simultaneity between these two things, it appears contradictory, and in some regards maybe it is, but like that's not impossible. Like, contradictions exist in the real world. Like that's not it is not an unreal thing that like contradictions can happen. Okay, now I'm gonna watch for her light to move away. No, not time for that now, apparently. What is... What did I do wrong?
Take my babies and fertilize the garden with what was left. Stay right there, you little bitch!
I could swear I'm supposed to use that thing. I might cut out this portion of the video.
This house has seen more than you can imagine. And it knows. You just don't understand.
Now's not time for that, it says. Do I need to follow her through that other door, I wonder?
I know you know a lot.
can't remember. I don't remember the sequence very well.
I don't know what you want to do with that boy, Ethan.
Yeah, boy Ethan. Come on. Do come over here so I could advance the story, please. I'm sorry for all the waiting, everybody. This is the difficulty of like an instant lose stealth section in a game. I swear I got it in one the first time. I might need to like review my footage and see what to do.
I'll feed you to my babies and fertilize the garden.
Pardon me, everyone.
We open our home. We open our hearts. And what do you do?
Come on. Walk faster, Marguerite. Okay, so that's all it was. I just needed to wait, kind of. Is that it? Nope. Come on. Doing this on mouse is really not super easy. There we go. And in here we go. So this is another case that I do think it's actually a little bit clever. This is meant to, in part, you know, as with the last video, Ethan can kind of learn from what others have done in the past, and that can ideally let him succeed where they failed.
She loves you. She wants us to be a family, goddammit. You! All you have to do is accept her fucking gift!
Who is her, do we think? Perhaps the creepy little girl. Come on. Come on, Marguerite.
We love you! Why can't you see that? Embrace us!
And into the
No,
pit go.
No! You don't fucking try to save your damn thing! There's no way out of there, Missy!
So you say. Alright. Well, this is basically... Oh, and we got a picture of Mia with the creepy child who called us mommy when we saw her like a ghost. Uh-oh. Boo.
Where do you think you're going?
Away.
Ethan, please help me. Ethan, help me.
Alrighty. Well, that was a little preview of the old house, which we will get to once we are able to exit the current house. And I think it's a cool little teaser.
What did they do to you, Mia?
Alrighty. Well, I don't remember exactly what left I have to do. I do believe that we're all good. I'm gonna pause real quick and let me just check my I'm gonna check my other video real quick, because I'm worried. What if I forget something? What if I miss recording something? Well, it would. Oh yeah, okay. So okie doke. So we do have a little bit left to do. Okay, so we are going to advance the story by checking out the one last room upstairs we haven't yet checked out. It's a gross bathroom. Handgun ammo in the bathroom, thank you. Got some wash baskets. Coin in the toilet, right where it belongs. And we got a bathtub to unstop, so we can ideally get a wooden statue. So this will let us into, oh, also it's a disgusting mess of God knows what, more black mold. Okay, it is now time for another jump scare, everybody, so brace yourselves now. Hello.
Heck of a thing, ain't it? Sure shit beats the hell out of dying. My little girl has given us a gift. And this gift...
Okie doke. Well, we got a wooden statue, and the purpose of the wooden statue is to, purpose of the wooden statue is to go on the light podium that we saw, which is just like the puzzle that Mia had to figure out. So it does force you to learn what the statue is used for, so it's a little bit clever. There's one last thing. I don't think I mentioned this in my other commentary, but one of those other funny things that shows up in this being a Japanese game primarily is we have these hanging racks, these circular sock racks. I think that's more of a Japanese thing than something you'd find in the United States. My understanding is that like a lot of air drying goes on in Japan because there's something about like electrical limits that makes dryers really impractical in Japan. So they do a lot of air drying, and that really doesn't make sense in Louisiana because it's going to be so unbelievably humid here that like nothing would ever get dry after you washed it. So anyway, that was the last thing we had to do. At the start of the next video, you're going to hear me complain about my recording woes because that was a few weeks ago when I was having trouble recording the first couple sessions. But we've actually completed everything else now. We have done the DLC, and I've actually started recording some other games. But, you know, I really like this game. I hope you enjoy the rest of the playthrough. And, you know, you'll hopefully be seeing more of this kind of commentary on other games that I do in the future. So, thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.